Hi, good evening, and welcome to the PEPP Story live show. This is day 2 of the daily show, running throughout the whole of January. And I'm going to be exploring a whole range of things, but in particular, we're going to be looking at how to help you to become an outstanding speaker. So, welcome to the show. And last night I looked at a little bit about fear of speaking. I'm going to come back to that through the coming days, and we're going to be looking at fear of speaking from a variety of different angles and the solutions for how to overcome that. But tonight I want to look particularly at the PEPP Story approach and where that's come from and why I believe it's the most powerful formula that you can learn on how to become an outstanding speaker. And I know for a lot of people, it's speaking in public is, some of us find it really, really easy. Some find it very, very difficult. The whole idea behind the PEPP Story formula came from my work in Toastmasters. I joined Toastmasters back in 1990, at which time I was already a professional speaker, already speaking quite regularly. And I still learned a huge amount by going to a regular club. Now, most Toastmaster clubs are running online now. So most of us are having learning speaking skills through online work, through Zoom calls and Teams calls and various other things. And I'm going to be looking at both online and offline throughout this 31 days. So let me have a look at the whole PEPP Story approach. It started, as I mentioned last night, when I was asked to stand in. Somebody had not been able to go to a conference in Ireland, to Toastmasters International Conference there, and I was going. So somebody phoned me and said, speaker's dropped out. Can you jump in and do a workshop? That gave me about 24 hours to get ready. And I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll grab the Toastmaster manual, which is a set of 10 projects, which everybody who joins Toastmasters works through in order to develop their skills. It takes about a year to work through them. And I looked at I thought I'd do an overview of what was important. And picking up on the first 3 speeches there, I noticed a theme. Now, what happened was, having done the workshop, somebody said to me, hey, look, if you rearrange the order of those, it actually spells PEP, P-E-P, purpose, experience, and passion. And that was how the whole PEP thing started. I realized that the first 3 projects that you learn, that you work through in a Toastmasters Magic and Association of Speakers Club, pretty much the same formula. So this is what I'm going to look at now. I've added on the others because, in fact, they made all sense. So the first topic we're going to look at here is purpose. So we've got purpose, experience, passion. I've added in performance, all those add-on skills, use of body language, how you use your voice, use of slides, all those things that create part of the performance. And then the importance of story. And that I've really added fairly recently, because I've increasingly realized over the past 3 or 4 years that storytelling is the essence of being a great speaker. And but all of these things fit together. You need these 5 elements. If you take any of them out, you won't end up with a great speech. So let's think about purpose, first of all. When I assess quite a lot speeches. One of the challenges of being a professional speaker is that I get to sit in audiences, I get to go on Zoom calls, I get to go to meetings regularly and sit through lots and lots of presentations by people who, frankly, could have done a lot more work to make that speech better. And I think this is the big problem. And I saw it when I was working in corporate myself, that people would be scheduled to do a talk, and I'd suddenly realize that they'd grabbed together somebody else's PowerPoint presentation or just chucked a few slides together. I remember running a conference program once, and one of the speakers turned up, and an hour before he was due to go on and speak, he was putting his PowerPoint presentation together. Now, that really doesn't work. If you're going to deliver a good speech, you have to do some presentation. And the most important thing is figuring this out. Why are you delivering this speech? What is the message? And it really is this one single message. So if you're looking at any speech you're going to do, no matter where it is, whatever it is, even if it's delivering a report or doing a team meeting on a Zoom call, or doing a big keynote presentation at a conference of 1,000, it doesn't matter what it is. There really needs to be one single message. What is that message? And if you can actually embed that message into the title of your speech, that is even better. One of the best speeches I ever heard about 25 years ago, a man called Ken Medema, speaking at a big conference in America, and he was a blind pianist. And he did a speech, but his speech was, "The magic begins when the speaker listens." And his whole talk just weaved a web of interesting stories around that to make it very clear that we need to listen. Listen to our audiences, listen to the audience when we're speaking, listen to people about what it is that we're going to be speaking about. Hear, by hearing what people are saying, we learn what they need to know from us, what information we need to be giving. But unless you listen, all you do is just push your message out onto other people. But a clear sense of a message, clear purpose. And I'm going to go into much more detail on this. We'll spend the whole of a presentation during the week on looking at purpose. But that's number one. The second part of this formula is experience. Speak from experience. In Toastmasters, this is the very first speech that you do. It's called the icebreaker, and it's a speech where you get up and introduce yourself. Speak about the topic about which you know the most, your life, your experiences. And to be honest, that's what people want to hear. If I look at the people who are successful in the Professional Speaking Association, the ones that are successful are the ones who've grasped their story and its significance, and they use elements and various parts of their life story to put across the messages. So if you take a clear message that you've got, that your single purpose, your single message that you're going to go, you'll then break it into maybe 3 points that you want to make. And those will generally become 3 stories that you've experienced in your life, stories that you've heard from other people, but they're stories which you can relate to, stories which you can basically help other people. There's a thing about stories, and we'll talk about them later, but when I tell a story, we connect in a way that means that you feel as well as hear what I'm speaking about if I use a story. And that comes from telling and sharing experiences from my life. I think the most important message I ever got was, have you earned the right to speak? And that's really, really important. Have your life experiences been sufficient that you now have the experience, you have the right to be able to get up in front of an audience and share those messages? And I've been often at speeches where I've heard somebody talking about sales, because sales was my background, or being in technology. And I've heard somebody get up and deliver a speech, and it was very clear within a very short space of time, this person hadn't lived it. They hadn't got the T-shirt. They were reading it from books. They were learning it from other people and trying to put it across, but they hadn't actually been there. And that shows. The audience can tell straight away. And it's really important in speeches to share your experience, share where you are coming from, because that is what people most like to hear. I know when we get to very technical speeches and reports, that becomes more difficult. But to be honest, I cut my teeth speaking mostly about life insurance, as a topic. But I got a 5-minute standing ovation, and I delivered a speech to an audience of 1,500 life insurance salesmen about why they should buy life insurance. And that video of that talk was still being used 10 years later to train new salesmen. So you can use your experiences to put something across. And that takes you then into the third point, which is passion. You have to speak on a topic about which you are passionate. And there's a very good reason for that. Right now, one of my primary topics is that I talk about transgender issues and diversity and belonging and inclusion, how to make an environment that actually includes everyone, and particularly those people who don't conform to the gender norms, the gender stereotypes. How do we make that work? That's a topic I've been talking about since I changed gender. It's a topic which I took a master's degree in, and I've studied, and I've been on committees, and it's just been the focus of my life for the past 20 years. And I don't get bored with that topic. I can talk about it now. I can talk about it at the drop of a hat. If I do a presentation, I still spend an hour preparing a presentation I've delivered hundreds of times. But it's a topic about which I'm passionate. I was working with somebody once, coaching them, and they delivered a topic on management, and it was, well, frankly, boring. Utterly boring. And later at the meeting, I saw this person speaking about something he was really passionate about. And I said, is there any... the topic was Reiki, and I thought, that's something that really fires him up. This management topic doesn't. So he was going to come back for another presentation. We were going to be videoing it. And I said, look, is there any way to grasp what you've learned or the passion you have for talking about Reiki and somehow inject that passion into your speech about management? Well, he did. He came back and he actually got somebody from the audience up, sat them on a chair, and actually did a Reiki session on them while talking about the importance of exploring new ideas from places outside of where you normally work. It worked. The talk was captivating, drew us right in because he'd managed to capture that passion he had for Reiki and build it into his talk about management, which wasn't his favorite topic. So we have to talk about things, and what we really need to think about in all the time is what fires you, what gets you up. What is it that really gets your goat? What are the things that make you get up in the morning? What are the things that you would pay someone to let you speak about? Those are the sorts of topics that you need to be talking about. And if that's not the topic, if you don't have a topic that you can get up, and if you're going to do this as a living, certainly, you need a topic that you can get up and deliver day after day after day, year after year, and still deliver it with the same level of enthusiasm and excitement as the first time you did it. And that's not easy. But we all have passion for things, and it's important to find a way to bring that passion into our talks so that they actually do inspire the audience to want to take some action. So the fourth one, we've talked purpose, we've talked experience, we've talked passion. And those are the things that are the three initial elements, the three first talks that you get presented with if you were to join a Toastmasters club. Speak from experience, speak from, on a topic that inspires you and about which you have sincere feelings, and speak with purpose. Get some clear sense of focus, clear message about what it is you want to talk about. Then we start to build on what most people think they need to learn when they do public speaking. It's all about the performance. Yeah, performance is important. But what I will say is if you have a topic about which you are passionate, if you are speaking from lived experience, that you've been there, you know it, and if you have a clear message, a clear reason for being there to deliver that talk, trust me, you don't need huge amounts of performance skills. You can add to your performance. There are things that you can do that will make it bad that you can change. So, for example, you can improve your speech. You can get clearer diction. You can project your voice more effectively. Microphones won't do it. You can look when you're on Zoom at various different things. I've been to a number of meetings and find that there are people peering over the top as if they're just looking over a wall. Too much light, too little light. The sound. One of the things that we know very clearly now is that it doesn't matter how good you get the visuals when you're doing an online presentation, if your sound is wrong, if you've got the microphone wrong, if you're not projecting sufficiently well, if you're not got the good diction, people will give up. What we hear is more important than what we see. So those are all the performance aspects, and we're going to be looking quite a lot throughout the next 31 days at various different elements of how you can improve your performance online and offline. And it's not that difficult. So, and also not expensive. You don't need massive expensive equipment. I've got some reasonably good equipment here, but you can pretty well get away with using, just a good microphone, reasonable computer, a little bit of light, and that's it. But, it is worth lighting. It is making sure that you've got some light there. This is the message I got. I asked somebody once, what's the one thing that they wish they knew when they first started? And he said, no question, this is show business. Doing a presentation here on Zoom, and I realize more and more now, I'm running a TV show. Okay, my own, it's from my own dining room, but I'm having to use all sorts of techniques. I've took a few courses in the past on presenting, and I've learned that this is very much a TV show, except that I'm having to do everything. I'm having to bring in the lower thirds. I'm having to get the lighting right. I'm having to get the sound right and put I've got a green screen behind me and all of those things. And I use tools which enable me to be able to do that and make it come across really well. So there are lots of things to learn in terms of performance to make sure it becomes entertaining, because that's what we expect. If we pay for a speaker to come and speak, we expect it to be entertaining. Why? If not, why not just send me the stuff on, type it out and send it to me. Let me read it. We've got to make something different to that. So that's the performance, and we're going to be looking at performance. So finally, let me come to story. For thousands of years, history information was passed around by stories. If you look at the history of Britain, you'll find that, most of the stories were, there were actors and performers traveling around the country, traveling information, telling stories, delivering it in poetry. Most of the stuff we know that goes back to biblical days, information was delivered it was a world where there was no writing. Very few people could read and write. And so everything was passed on verbally. And in order to make it memorable, you put it into a story. Think of all the fables, the Greek fables, the Roman stories of the Romans, the stories from Ireland, the Druids, all of those stories, the stories of Robin Hood, these are all stories which emerged out of a time when people could barely read. Most people couldn't read and write. And so those stories passed on verbally. And we use plays and theatre and drama to pass them on. Today, it's about, blockbuster movies that we tell those stories. I listen to audiobooks all the time. And if I like to hear them, the story come alive. I like to hear the drama in it. I even narrate books. And again, narrating a book, if the author wants me to narrate a book, they expect me to put some different voices into the characters to bring drama in. When it's an excitement, it needs to sound exciting. When it's quiet, it needs to sound quiet. But storytelling is the essence of all great speaking. It's the foundation. Without good stories, you will not have a good speech. And if you want examples of that, just take a random look through TED Talks and you'll see the ones that get the most listens are the ones that are best with storytelling. I did a TED Talk and I put stories into it, and it's had 120,000 views now, which I'm very pleased about. Nowhere near the big ones. Big ones are like 50 million. And they're good storytellers. They're good humor. But storytelling is what it's about. So those are the 5 elements that we need to think about in terms of the PEPP Talk approach, PEPP Story approach. I used to call it PEPP Talk, but I've added story in now. So purpose, experience, passion, performance, and story. So what we're going to do over the next week is to explore each of those and look at how you can make that work within your speeches. And you'll find all the great speeches. If you take a good speech and have a look at it and analyze it, one of the ones on one of the TED Talks, you'll find these elements are all there. And they all have to be there. None is more important than the other. They're all part of it. Take away any, and you don't have a good speech. So that's the way that that's all going to go. Now, I'm going to talk briefly about speaker coaching. I'm giving these, doing these presentations every day, and this is all free. Take it, use it, do what you can. But if you need help to craft a speech, to put a speech together, to build up your presentation skills, to build your confidence, overcome some difficulties you're having, then I'm available to do speaker coaching. And all you got to do is basically just drop me an email. And I've forgotten to write it up first. Right. I'll just put the address up there so you can see it. It's ricky@rickyarundel.com. Just send me an email to say that you're interested, and we'll get in touch and we can talk. And what I offer, very simply, is a free 30-minute session. So you get a free 30-minute session just to assess what's the coaching session going to be like. And my goal is to listen to you and help you to find, and really what we're going to look at that PEPP story formula, find out how we can look at what's missing, what's not working within your presentations, and find a way to help you to become more effective. So if you need some help, just drop me an email at ricky@arundel.com. You'll find the address in the notes down below. And join me tomorrow for day 3, when we're going to start into the process. I'm going to look much more at the problems and the issues and challenges of purpose. How do we get that clear sense of purpose? How do we get that clear message? And look at some examples of how that can work. Great. Thank you for being here with me tonight. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope you find some useful ideas from this. And hopefully you'll come along and find more during the week, during the month. Great to see you. Look forward to seeing you later on. I just have a quick little check. I was just checking to see if we had any messages. I can see a few people are watching, but please do come along and join me tomorrow, and we'll have another exploration of PEPP Story and how it can help you to become an outstanding speaker by the end of this month. Take care. See you tomorrow.